Today is one of the most important days of my life. I'm about to have another kid right here in Spain, and I'm doing so as an American who chose to leave the United States. One of the biggest fears that people have when they think about moving abroad is, what is the healthcare system like? Especially when it comes to something as serious as having a baby or a major surgery, or if you're living with some sort of chronic illness. And even more when you realize that Spain doesn't offer birthright citizenship. So instead of sharing this as like a general overview of how the system works, I thought it would be best to take you along with me real time to show you exactly how the healthcare system in Spain actually works and what it feels like when it matters the most. In this video, I'll be covering the process, how insurance works, and some of the costs that you could expect if you're having a baby or just looking into general care as it is. Think about this, man. I'm baby number 3 in a new country. Let's see how it goes. Before we get started, I've got a favor to ask. Making these videos take quite a bit of effort. And if you're finding what I'm doing entertaining or even helpful, it would really mean a lot to me if you subscribe to the channel and also like this video. On this channel, I cover living globally and how to afford it to help people like you just break free from the US rat race and live a life of global freedom on your own terms. Let's go have a baby. From the moment that we actually started this journey, the process has been structured, pretty calm, and surprisingly efficient in a way that feels very different from what most Americans might be used to. I didn't feel like I was in some sort of kind of like healthcare machine. The pacing feels a little bit more sincere. You always don't feel rushed. Appointments actually start on time. Doctors aren't quadruple booked, and you're not packed into the waiting room waiting for hours and hours just to be seen for an already scheduled appointment. The facilities are pretty clean, seem quite normal to me, and as a foreigner, navigating language, paperwork, and everything else, the expectation hasn't nearly been as complicated as you might assume. Whenever possible or needed, physicians have spoken to me in English, which says a lot about how accessible the system is. I know that in the States, for example, when we had Spanish-speaking patients, oftentimes we didn't even have a Spanish-speaking person in the facility to talk to them in a medically appropriate way, and we would have to count on translation systems. I've had a few appointments and treatments here, but nothing like having a child. And since my wife has had a child in New York and in Florida, and now in Spain, it's best for her to share her experiences of what that's like from kind of like the beginning of the process up until, I guess, childbirth, which is going to be a new experience for us. So let's talk to her for a little bit.
One thing that I really like that is completely different than my experience in the States is that it's a monthly appointment. You get seen by the physician, not by a nurse or by a midwife. It's the physician, and they do a sonogram every single time that you come. He has a sonogram machine inside his office. But I also want to take a note that this is a private way of doing it in Spain. If you go through the public system, it's not like that. So far, the private, this has been my experience, and I actually like it. Let me tell you something about what I don't like. Is the process of how to handle the private insurance. I sent all the paperwork on Tuesday, and it's been this back and forth from Tuesday until today. This morning, I still hadn't received authorization. They weren't going to get me in the hospital if I didn't have an authorization. So I had to call the insurance, delay the whole process for 2-3 hours. Literally going crazy on the insurance until I got the authorization approved at 10 a.m. The public system, you're already always approved. But the C-section is not optional like the private. The C-section in the private system is optional. You want to have it or you don't want to have it.
And the public system?
And the public system has to be
medically necessary.
Medically necessary. So they have you going through, you can be like 40 hours on labor until they think, okay, yeah, now is a C-section time. Or at least that you have a condition like a placenta previa that is already like something approved. Oh, disculpa, Karl.
Entra. So I guess one of the first things that you might be interested in is, well, how are the facilities? So I'm going to just walk you through how things are organized in this particular hospital so that you could see for yourself what you could expect. Typical hospital room, 2 beds, but since we are having kids, 1 bed is for the mother and actually 1 bed is for me. So this is the bathroom. I think it's all right. Kind of reminds me of like a hotel in Cancun built in the 90s. If you just look at the color scheme and how it's organized, but it's not bad. It's actually better than other hospitals I've seen, but it's what you would expect in any kind of modernist hospital. Okay, we just got the request to go, so we out.
Tengo que llevar, creo que la cosita.
La ropa interior
La tengo
fuera.
puesta.
Pues
Okay.
hay que quitársela, ¿vale?
Okay.
Vamos a esperar a la matrona.
Okay.
Si quieres, cámbiate y ahora...
Okay.
Cabeza aquí,
Zapatos, no.
se queda todo aquí.
Todo se queda aquí. Ah, esto sí me dijeron que lo llevara.
Pues bájatelo, sí.
Okay.
La cabeza aquí. Usted se viene conmigo.
Sí.
Ah, esto es solo para el personal. Esto es
Sí.
solo para el personal.
One thing that I've realized is that they seem to have more of like a holistic approach to care. They really didn't want her taking any kind of medications while pregnant. Everything seemed to be more geared towards preventative care and monitoring at all stages. And I think that's just kind of standard here. You kind of see the same thing in all things and how they manage foods, how they manage ingredients. Even with my daughters, when they get sick, they're not as quick to prescribe antibiotics as they would be in the United States. Like the least intrusive approach is the approach that they take. And they don't seem to be as concerned with the litigious nature of patients. We always play the surprise game. So we'll be discovering whether we're having girl number 3 or having a boy this time around. So that's going to be exciting, and obviously you'll get to share in that kind of reveal, so to speak. So we're almost there, and should be another few more minutes. In about 20 minutes, we were all prepped and ready to deliver. We didn't know the sex of the baby and were eager to welcome the new addition to the family. And the OR was packed. At one point, I actually counted 14 people in there. And after what felt like a short eternity, we welcomed our 3rd little girl to the world, Verona Pierre. Con los tres.
Baby.